I may be a bit jet lagged, so I'm making sure I remember the two things I actually want to share with you today. Because we all know when the flow takes me over, who knows where we'll go. If you're here live, let me know, and also let me know if you can hear me before I start on the mass riff that this is going to be. Okay, just give you a few more seconds. Hello, hello. Just let me know if you can hear me if you are watching live. I just like to make sure, after having little tech difficulties a while ago with Instagram and sound, I want to make sure you can actually hear me before I get crack-a-lacking. If you could just say yes or some love hearts or something so I know you can hear me, that would be amazing. And then we'll get cracking. Great, I'll take the little wave as a yes, I can hear you, Georgina. So hello and welcome to anyone who joins live, and I'm also going to send this to my mailing list and it's going to be on my grid. So if you're catching it on the replay, then just let me know by putting hashtag replay. So I have two things that I want to share with you today. And hi, Anne. Nice to have you here. So two things that I want to share with you. So basically I was in Brazil last week. I went on holiday and it was kind of an adventure retreat. It wasn't a sit on your ass and don't do anything retreat. That's not really my kind of vibe. I would get very, very bored. I'm someone who likes to be doing things and using up my sacral energy each day. One of the things we got to do on this retreat was have a surf lesson. Now, considering I live in Jersey, which is one of the surf capitals of the world, we have a lot of surfers, we have a lot of beach, a lot of waves. And in fact, the lady who ran the retreat in Brazil, who now lives in Brazil, used to live in Jersey. And she said to me, some of my favorite all-time surfs of all time were in Jersey. So I've never tried it. I've never tried it. So even though I knew I was going to be going to Brazil and one of the things was going to be having a surf lesson, I didn't try it over here. It's fucking freezing in the sea in Jersey. There's just absolutely no chance that I was going to get in the water over here. No, thank you. It is icy. But when in Brazil, you know, the water's warmer. It's on the retreat. I'm like, okay, let's give it a go. When I showed up for that, it was the first full day of our retreat, so didn't really know the other ladies that well, obviously, because we'd only just met. I've never surfed before, so I was actually quite nervous to try it. And I'd already decided, and this is a key piece, I'd already decided that I was going to be really bad at it. And I was like, I was preparing myself. And this is so key, so please hear me when I say this, because you're going to be able to translate it to your own life, even if it's not about surfing. The lesson runs deeper than surfing, as always with me. So before I'd even got to the beach, on the walk down to the beach, and even in the lead up to the retreat, I'd been telling myself, I'd been preparing myself to be bad at it. So the stories I was telling myself and the thoughts I was having were, I know I'm going to be bad at this, so I really just got to make the best of it. And if I don't enjoy it, then I can always go and just sit on the beach and read my book or hang out with the other ladies who maybe aren't that keen on surfing, right? So I really wasn't in any way telling myself a story that was anything other than, you're going to be bad at this. Hi, Kirsten. Hey, girl. So all the way down for like weeks before, pretty much from the moment I signed up for this retreat, I'd been kind of like low-key dreading doing the surf lesson. Everything else I was excited for, but the surf lesson I was like, oh God, this is going to be like my least favorite thing. So we got to the beach. All of those stories are kind of compounded, and I was like a little bit nervous. I was a little bit reserved. I was thinking, oh, okay, I just need to get through today. And in my mind, I was like, oh, I'm quite glad that this is on the first day, because now we're just like getting it out the way, right? I'm in Brazil on this luxury adventure holiday, and I'm already thinking about getting a day out of the way. Let's just get this over with. Like, can we see how wonky this whole situation is when we think about, like, you know, we think it's just wild that I'm in actual paradise. This place is paradise. It's called Itacaré. It's like a kind of like a surf town in Brazil. And it is so fucking beautiful. Everywhere we went was just like, oh my God, this is as paradise as it gets. And then the next day we go somewhere else and we're like, oh God, no, this is as paradise as it gets. And it just kept getting more and more idyllic. Every time she took us to a new place, we were like, oh my God, how does this place just keep getting more and more beautiful? So on the first day, we've like walked through this rainforest onto this like impeccable, just beautiful beach. I'm getting goosebumps even thinking about how beautiful it is. And walking down to the area where we're going to surf, and then the lady who's running the retreat sat us all down. We did some yoga to like limber up for the surf lesson, and then we sat down and we did like a little meditation just to get our heads in the right space before we started the lesson. Bearing in mind, I've had months and months worth of compounding these beliefs like, I'm not going to be good. I know I'm not going to be good at this. That's what I was telling myself. Me, mindset queen. I know I'm not going to be good at this. I'd already told myself I wasn't going to be good at it, and I kept compounding those beliefs, that story. So I was sitting there and we do our little meditation, and I kind of drift off into my own, just like surrendering. And I began to notice how much resistance I'd built up in my body around this particular experience. And I just, in that moment, I was like, I have no proof that I'm going to be good at this, because I've never tried surfing or anything like it. I've never supped. I've never done bodyboarding, nothing like that. So I have no proof that I'm going to be good at it. But I also have no proof that I'm going to be bad at it, because I've never tried it. So why am I choosing to build a narrative around being bad at something just because I've never tried it before, when I have just as much evidence that I might be good at it? Because I have zero evidence, but I've chosen to buy into the struggle story and the resistance before I've even got to before I've even got to Brazil, before I've even got on the plane, before I've even like packed or thought about packing, or like I've already told myself I'm going to be shit at it. So in that moment, and this is the power of, even though I'd compounded so much belief, like quote unquote negative belief, if you will, for want of a better word, even though I compounded so much belief in favour of the kind of limiting story of resistance, it only took a moment. It only took the awareness in that moment, that perception shift. It only took that moment, like, to change my mind about it. Even though I had all this mental, energetic, emotional resistance in my body around it, that's how quick it was to change. Because I created space. I felt the resistance without making it mean anything. And in doing so, I created space for a new narrative to come to the front. I created space to embody a new perspective. And in that moment, I just started feeling into, like, you see, I get the sacral wiggles. I was like, ooh, what if I'm actually really good? Like, what if I'm the best? What if I've got to sit, this is like how my mind, when I'm in momentum, I can go one way or the other, right? And in that moment, it's like a little choice point, like a fork in the road. I went, boom, I'm changing my fucking mind about this. And as soon as I started thinking like, hang on a minute, what if I'm actually good at, like, I have no proof that I'm going to be bad. I have no proof I'm going to be good, but I have no proof I'm going to be bad. So what the fuck? Maybe I've got a natural talent. This is where my brain started going, what if I'm just like naturally talented at this thing? What if I'm naturally really good at it? And because I've never tried it, I just don't know. Maybe this gets to be my new hobby. I mean, I might love this. I might be a secret surf champion, and I never knew because I've never tried it. And it was just in that moment, I was like, I might be the best. I might be really good at this. And I just don't know. So I created this window of opportunity for something different, to see something differently. And so I ended up being really good at it. If I hadn't been, that would have also been okay, and I still would have had fun because I'd shifted my perspective. But in reality, when I actually tried it, because I was in this vibe of like, oh, I can do this, I can try it, maybe I'm going to be good. Because I'd kind of built this positive momentum, the supportive momentum behind the activity, when I actually did it, I ended up being quite good. And the surf instructor was like, is this your first time? I said, yeah, I've never tried it before. And he was like, really good. I was like, thanks. And I just found it so fun. And because I was enjoying it, I literally just like got up, picked up my surfboard, went into the sea, got on there, jumped on it, right, ready in my plank position, and I'm going, and whew, right, 2-line things. Exactly. Like, oh, look, I'm just naturally gifted. Oh, I forgot I'm good at stuff. And it was just really fascinating to me. I could go into all the reasons why I've likely built myself up within resistance stories, but that's not really what this live stream is about. And it's also not what life gets to be about either, right? So that was just really fun to me to see how much, even though I built so much negative momentum in my mind, it was just in using this technique that I teach you guys in Co-Create, basically. I was able to just kind of soften into the resistance and feel like, there's a whole new story here available for me. And I think sometimes we can get caught, and that's just the first lesson. We're coming on to lesson 2, so bear with me, guys, because it's also a real doozy. And I shared it with my ladies in the Chrysalis, and it was, of all of the things I've shared with them over the last 26 days, what date is it? What's my name again? Jet lag. Over the last 25 days, this share has been the one that has created the biggest ripple of like, oh, wow, I do that. Oh my God, I needed to hear that. Oh, this is profound, like boom. So we're going to get to that in a sec. But using this technique where we just soften in and feel the resistance, and then what we do with that, it creates space. It creates a space. It creates like a gap in the constant stream of narrative that we're already in. And it gives us this moment of almost like stretching time, so that if our thoughts are just like like a fucking ticker tape, it gives us time to slow the gap between thoughts down. And in that gap, there's space for something else to be programmed. There's space for something else to be awakened and for us to see things and experience life in a whole new way. So with that said, is there anything else that I feel to share around that? There was one other piece. Let me just drop in and see if it wants to come back. Give me a little moment to just drop back in. That's what I was going to say. We can oftentimes, with mindset stuff, people can get very stuck in trying to consciously like crank their thoughts in a new direction. And as I'm saying this, I'm feeling like, you know, when you've got like a tap or something, or like a lid or something is like screwed on really tight, and you're trying to undo the lid, but it's almost like you're making it tighter by trying. You're like forcing this motherfucker. Whereas if you just like went tap, tap, you know, and you tap it and it kind of like wiggles the lid and it creates like a little bit of space, and then you're able to actually open the jar. Little hack for you there if you ever get stuck opening a jar. But sometimes like we can almost make it worse because we're just trying so fucking hard at life. And then when you just go, there might be an easier way to do this. But we tend to forget that breath of, there might be an easier way to do this, right? 2-line life, that's why I'm so amazing at helping you find ease in your life. Because I love to make things more hard than they have to be. Oh my God, I love to make life more difficult than it has to be. It's apparently one of my favourite things, because I am constantly having to remind myself, maybe is there an easier way to do this? Because this feels like real hard fucking work. And I'm not adverse to hard work because I'm a Manny-Gen and I'm a Taurus. We fucking love like the feeling of like being in it and doing the things and work and like I love that feeling. What I fucking hate though is the feeling of like spinning my wheels. Like, why am I doing so much? And I feel like I'm efforting so much, but every time I put effort in or work in or like pour into this thing, it feels like I'm creating more resistance. I find that really hard and I hate that feeling. And that is when I know, when I find myself in that, like the wheels are spinning and nothing's happening. And now I'm confused and I'm like, when I'm in that space, I know it's a call to like take a breath, drop back in, find some space in between the fucking ticker tape of my thoughts and allow a gap. Because if you keep forcing against yourself or trying to shift your mindset when there isn't space, you don't have space in between the thoughts and you're just like layering unhelpful thought on top of unhelpful thought on top of unhelpful thought, and then you're like trying to law of attraction yourself out of it. But when you try and law of attraction yourself out of your situation, you find that you can't, and it's still not working, and that just gives you more proof that it's not working. And the more you try and create proof that it is working, you just create more resistance, and it's like, bleh. I fucking hate that. My way out of that is to just take time to create some space between the thoughts and allow for some clarity to come through. And when that clarity comes through, then you can act again. And it feels like you've turned over, you know, you're on a fresh page, and you're not just kind of scribbling over the same page trying to find an answer. But the more information you add to that fucking page, the more confusing it gets. Sometimes you have to like turn the page over, trust that anything you need to bring from the previous chaotic pages of scribbling, anything you need to bring with you that is going to kind of add to your clarity is going to be, it's already in you. You can bring that with you. And then when you turn the page and you've got that clean sheet in front of you, anything you need to bring with you will naturally be there. You don't have to try so hard to hold on to the wisdom that you've gained from life or from past experience. It is in you, it's inherent. And when you turn the page and you have this clarity, you're then able to go, right, I'm embodied in that wisdom now. That wisdom is in me. And now I can move forward with grace and with a bit more excitement. So anyway, so that's the first piece. That's just lesson 1, guys. We're on a roll. Let's go. So lesson number 2. Who have we got? Oh, hi. Hello, Mrs. Jackson. And hi, Laura. Hey, girl. Laura. My fellow surf bud. Hey, girl. So lesson 2 was about, and this was the one that was like, this one made the biggest ripples in the chrysalis. This was the one that had people going like, oh my God, and all these messages coming through about like, this is profound. Oh my God, I needed to hear this. So, nice deep breath. Hello, I can see these names joining. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So lesson number 2 is about the waves and how he taught me to deal with the waves. And I found it so fascinating because I've actually had a bit of a fear of the ocean, which I reframed from like, I'm afraid of the ocean into, I have a healthy respect for the ocean because that bitch is powerful. And in Jersey, where I live, we have these crazy like rip tides where you can just get sucked out, and it's like you're out at sea. Like, how the fuck did that happen? I'm swimming that way and suddenly I'm over here. So our tides in Jersey are quite wild at times. So I've been brought up with a healthy respect for the ocean. And also in the past, as a little kid, I kind of got sucked under and tumbled by the waves 2 or 3 times. So I have like some kind of inherent trauma. I've done a lot of work on it, so I can actually go in the sea and I'm fine. But I still have this like, what I would call a healthy respect for the ocean, which is probably a mild fear. And I didn't really think about that because I do go in the sea in Jersey. But when I went into the ocean, I have this surfboard, and it's quite cumbersome, and I haven't carried one of these before. So that's all new, with a bunch of new people in a new environment. I don't speak the same language as my instructor. And I'm like, okay, deep breaths. This is all good. This is the challenge that you needed. This is what you've been asking for. So embrace it all. And remember, who knows, you might be really good. So I'm going in with this like playful spirit. And I start like the waves start like pummeling me. I was just like, oh fuck. And I could feel this kind of residual panic start to like my little heart was like, okay, right. You could just get out if you wanted to. Okay. So how often in life do you have this? You start moving towards something. And I mean, this is quite a heightened experience, which I was very grateful for, because there is actual real danger there. If I panic and I let myself get too into my head about it, yeah, I could drown. Who knows? But really in that moment, I was like, there are several people here who are watching, like for our safety. And then there are also people watching from the shore who are here to kind of support us in the retreat in general. There's all my other teammates on the retreat. The likelihood of me actually getting sucked under and fucking drowning are very fucking slim. So I think we can relax a little bit, Georgina. So I took in the kind of like what's actually happening. Okay, it's not as scary as I think. This is just a story in my head. But the story in my head came from my nervous system's response, which was panic. But I was able to, in that moment, many years of work, I was able to take that moment to feel that panic and be like, oh, okay, I'm panicking. I can feel the panic and I can see myself from an external perspective, and I can zoom out and be like, is there actually anything to be afraid of here? It's my little hello. No, there's not. Okay, great. So I can relax back into it and soften back into the experience. So the waves keep coming and the waves keep coming, and I'm like doing my best to kind of like, as the waves like crash, I'm doing my best to like lean into them, you know, not let them push me over. So I'm like leaning into the wave, and I'm like, okay, this is great. It's very tiring and like hard work, but I'm here for it. Let's go. So I keep leaning into the waves and like crashing on me, and I'm like, whew, fuck, this is going to be a long hour and a half or however long we're in here. And then the instructor said to me, when the wave comes, go under. And I looked at him like he was insane. I was like, I'm sorry, what, you want me to go under the water? That's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of going under the water when the wave comes. And I guess it's probably because when being younger and stuff, when I got sucked under and I got tumbled around, that was scary. But this is a guy who's been surfing since he's 10. He's really fucking good. He's teaching it. He knows what he's doing. He loves the ocean. He lives in the ocean. I don't know as much about this stuff, so can I trust him? Yes. My body's like, yes, you can trust this person. Like I checked in with myself, like, do I trust this person? I was like, yes. Okay, great. And I kind of watching, and he shows me how to do it. And I like, I don't know. And then this big wave came, and there was just no way I could have jumped to keep my head above it anyway. So my options were let it smash me over and just fucking to hell with it and see what happens, or just try what the expert's telling me. So bearing in mind, and you can translate this into any area of your life, my body, my mind, everything in me was going, get the fuck out of the water. Don't even try it. Because my system's saying to me, we are afraid of this thing that's coming towards us. This wave, we are afraid of this. Why are we not running away from it right now? Because I couldn't have outrun it. Have you ever tried to run in water? It's really fucking hard work. So there's no way I'm outrunning this fucking thing. And I know that on some level, but the fear sensors and the survival mechanisms in my body are going, fucking run, bitch. And I was like, well, I could do that. Or I could kind of see if this thing's going to work, right? And this is all happening so fast because this wave is coming. I'm not standing there going, could you just wait a minute, wave, while I process this? Like this is happening on like hyperspeed in my mind and in my body. And I see him and I see the wave and I can feel like we're afraid of that. So in my mind, my fear centers are going, run the opposite direction. The expert's saying to me, no, face the fear that's in front of you and don't just face it, go under it, like enter it, right? Like go with it. I'm like, okay. Wave comes, I go right underneath and I just pop out the other side and it's a bit salt water and a bit like, is it done? Did I make it? Am I alive? Are we here? Yeah. And it fucking works. And from that moment on, I'm like, I'm no longer afraid. I'm no longer, and I get goosebumps, like I'm no longer afraid of this ocean. Because when the waves come, I just go under and then I pop back up again. I'm not trying to stop the fear. I'm not trying to stop the wave. I'm not trying to stop the ocean from coming at me. I'm just going under that, like the quote unquote, what I think is a threat. I'm going into and under and out the other side. And then when I felt the exhilaration in my body, I was like, wow, there's nothing I can't do now. Like in life, we have opportunities to face fear all the time and face resistance and just, it is face fear all the time. And we're kind of taught that we can either run from fear or we have to like confront it head on. And I just thought that this was such a beautiful lived experience and like physical, visceral sensation of this is actually something that is quite scary if you don't know how to handle it. I've got the how, I've been given the how, and all I have to do now is trust myself enough to do it, to not get into like that paralysis of fear and just then prove to myself that the wave is going to take me and that I'm disempowered here. I have no power. The ocean is one of the most powerful forces on this planet, right? It is so powerful. A wave, when that hits you, good luck standing up if it's a powerful wave. So to be able to have some kind of guidance as to how to deal with that, and that the guidance is not to run the other direction, the guidance is just go under. There's no need to be afraid anymore. And when in life we start to realize, if I look at my fear head on, and I know this is like Mindset 101, but it feels like this was my opportunity to really have a lived, embodied, felt experience of what it is like. I face my fears every day when it comes to like marketing my offerings, you know, standing or like sitting in a room of people who've come to me for energy work and, shifting. You know, like all of those things can be scary if we let them be. But the fact is, I've just got used to it. And so now my nervous system no longer sees those things as a threat. I don't feel that putting myself out there online is like a scary thing anymore, because I'm used to it, I'm calibrated to it. Getting in the ocean, however, now that felt scary, but I had the strategy, I had the technique, I had the thing. He gave me the guidance on what to do. And effectively, that's what I do for people when they come to me and they're like, I'm afraid of showing up more online. I'm afraid of going out there and getting, you know, falling in love again. I'm afraid of this goal. I'm afraid of that goal. Like I want it, but I'm also afraid of it. And that is one of the most mind fuckery games that we play on ourselves, right? Of like, I want this thing, I desire this thing, oh, I'd love to have that thing, but I'm so scared of it. I'm so scared of what I think life is going to require of me and from me in order to bring that into my reality, that I would rather dismiss that desire entirely and pretend I don't even want the thing, because I'm so afraid of what life might want from me, or, you know. So I just think that I was given this opportunity to re-experience what it's like to literally look into the jaws of fear itself and go, actually, the water doesn't want to hurt me. The water is just being water. The ocean is just being the ocean. It's just being wild. It's doing its thing. And how many of us, particularly in us female-bodied humans, you know, like how many of us have grown up or like been brought through life and guided to believe that our power or our fullness or our wildness is dangerous in some way, either to us or to other people. Whereas in fact, when we're able to understand that, we can stand in our power, even in the face of power, right? If I would have given my power away to that wave, I would have got pummeled the fuck out of me. I probably would have had a surfboard whack me in the head. Like, it could have been messy. I would have survived, but it would have been messy, right? And unpleasant. And I probably would never have wanted to go in the sea again. As it stands now, I can't wait to get on a surfboard again. I'm like, come on, Jersey, warm up enough that I can go in the sea. I'm like, do I just get a winter wetsuit and buy a longboard and just go fuck it and jump in now? Like, I'm so excited to get back in the ocean. So considering that a week ago, it was like one of my biggest fears. And now I'm like, fuck, I'm so excited. Like, I want to do more of this. This is the power of the work that we do and co-create. This is it. Is understanding that we don't ever give our power away to something that we think is more powerful than us, because nothing is more powerful than us. Nothing. And that doesn't mean that we have to like face everything head on like we're fighting it. It just means when I stand in the fact that I know what to do, like I know what to do, when I remember that I know what to do, or I find the guidance and I ask someone I trust for advice on what to do, if I feel like that advice is a yes in my body and I fully trust it, and this is all water element stuff, by the way, trust, safety, surrender, power, it's all water element. So it's all the je, spirit. It's all, you know, empowerment, personal empowerment all comes from having a really well integrated and nurtured water element. So when we can stand, and, you know, of course, where did I get to experience this? In the fucking water, like literally stand in the face of the power of the ocean, and not stand up like I had to be more powerful or like I have to win this. It was just like, you are powerful and you have force. I am powerful, but I also have wisdom, and I'm going to use that wisdom, and I'm going to trust myself enough that I can do this, and I'm going to pop out the other side, and within seconds I've conquered a massive fear. I've looked it in the eye. I've worked with the information that I have, the knowledge I have. I've surrendered myself to the wisdom and followed the wisdom. And I'm so exhilarated on the other side. facing your fear will set you free, as long as you have, you know, a plan, or as long as you have, like, you know, I wouldn't, I'm not somebody who like just wants to be afraid every day, or like face a fear every day for the fucking sake of like activating my nervous system into like, that doesn't feel great to me. Like I'm not signing up for that. But what I am signing up for is when I know that there is a fear in front of me, or like a perceived saber-toothed tiger, that I'm able to go, do I know how to navigate this? And if I do, trusting myself enough to know I know how to navigate it. And if I feel like I don't have enough information, I also trust myself enough to know where to go to receive that information, to find that information. I know how to find that information within my body if that feels like it's where the information lives. So there is nothing in life that is more powerful than us when we stand in our own power. We are so magnificent. I can't even put it into words how incredible we are as humans when we really tap into our limitless potential. And that's exactly what this work is in Co-Create. It's about helping you and supporting you, giving you the tools. Like, I have so many tools in my fucking toolkit. I've been studying this stuff for years. I'm doing spiritual and self-development for like over a decade now. And not just like, oh, that's a bit of fun. Like, there is nothing I love more than this stuff. And I am very passionate about a lot of things, but there are not many things I'm more passionate about than this work, because I love it so much. It's an integral part of how I navigate life every single day. So if you know that this is for you, or if you have an inkling this might be for you, then drop me a message into my DMs saying Co-Create. There is an option to have a little chat about it back and forth. I have an application form, so you can take yourself through that process, and kind of that will give you some time to feel into it even more. But don't let this be one of those opportunities that you let just pass by because you feel a little bit afraid of what might live on the other side of your fear of saying yes, of investing in the thing, of like letting yourself say yes to something that is so much bigger than where you are currently. Because with the support that you will get in this container, you're going to get there. I have no doubts about that, my friend. So drop me Co-Create into my DMs if you'd like to chat about this further, or if you want the application form, you can go ahead and just ask me for that and I can send that to you straight away. But I would certainly love to have a chat with you in my inbox. So have an amazing rest of your day, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye-bye. Oh, now I have to figure out how to end this thing. There it is. End now.